Good morning, all. This is optical fiber communication DT3202. Course outcomes are the students will be able to understand different communication media, various blocks and applications of optical fiber communication system. The students will be able to understand optics rules and measure the optical fiber cable parameters. Students will be able to identify suitable optical source for given application. Students will be able to identify suitable optical detector for a given application. Students will be able to identify suitable connectors and measure losses in the optical fiber cable. Students will be able to understand architecture of the optical network for given applications. So very quickly, light sources are continuous spectra, all the wavelength, monochromatic incoherent sources, and monochromatic coherent sources. All spectra is incandescent lamp, monochromatic incoherent is LED, and monochromatic coherent is laser. The source should have the size and configuration compatible to launching light, and light should be directional, must accurately track electrical input to minimize the distortion noise. That's why for that the source should be linear. Source should emit light at wavelength where the fiber has low losses and low dispersion at which the detectors are efficient. But preferably, source should be simple in modulation or wide bandwidth extending from audio frequency beyond gigahertz. So all these are the requirements for the source, and we are very quickly revising this. We have discussed in detail, and we have revised many times. So source must cable sufficient optical power to overcome attenuation in the fiber and connector losses, and the receiver receive the adequate power to drive the detector. Source should have very narrow spectral bandwidth, line width, in order to minimize dispersion in the fiber. Source must be capable of maintaining a stable optical output unaffected by the changes in the ambient conditions, that is the temperature. Source is to be comparatively cheap or cost effective and highly reliable in order to compete with conventional transmission technique. These are the major requirements of the optical sources. So as we know the working principle in which the light is in the form of photon. Photon is a discrete packet of the energy or quanta, and photon interacts with the matter like devices of detector and sources, and quantum theory suggests atom exists only in certain discrete energy states, and absorption and emission of light photon causes atom to make transition from one discrete energy state to another, and this is same is shown here. Absorption is spontaneous emission, stimulated emission. After absorbing the photon, atom goes from lower energy state to higher energy state. This is the final state. This is the initial state. So in spontaneous emission in initial state, the atom is in the higher energy state, and it releases the energy and goes into lower energy state. This energy equal to band gap energy. So the release of energy is spontaneous and random. It is observed in LED. In stimulated emission, atom initially is in the higher energy state, and external photon interacts with the atom, and external photon makes the atoms to transit to the lower energy state and uh, make to emit the photon from it. Both the emitted photon and interacting photon have same energy, and they are having same phase, so it is coherent as well as monochromatic. It is observed in laser. So again, the absorption and emission of radiation makes the have the frequency of the photon absorbed or emitted, and that F is related to difference in the energy between higher energy and lower energy. This is given as E is equal to E2 minus E1 is equal to H, where H is a Planck's constant 6.626 into 10 raised to minus 34 joules second. So photon or light photon is absorbed if the two level of two state atomic system is considered. The lower energy state is at the where the atom is there. Atom is in the initially lower energy state, and photon of energy E2 minus E1 is incident upon atom. Then atom goes from a lower energy state to higher energy state. This process is absorption. So we are revising it very quickly because we have many times revised it and already discussed it in detail. Principle of working of optical source is emission of radiation of the light photon. Considered again two level atomic system, an atom is in the higher energy state. To make the transition from higher to lower energy state, it provides the emission of the photon. So this photon frequency is corresponding to again E is equal to 2 minus E1 equal to HF. But here emission is of two types. One is spontaneous emission, one is stimulated emission. So if you consider the spontaneous emission, so spontaneous emission in which the atom returns to lower energy state entirely in random manner. So in spontaneous emission, it is random in nature of the spontaneous emission process. It emits light in electronic transition in large number of atoms. It gives the incoherent radiation, and emission process in semiconductor is mechanism for light generation within light emitting diode. In stimulated emission, whenever the atom is having in the higher energy state and the photon equal to the energy of band gap energy, that is higher minus lower energy state, interact with that atom in the higher energy state, then upper energy state atom causes to return to photon causes it to return to lower energy state with the creation of one photon. So it emits the photon generally identical to the energy of incident photon. So it is having light of stimulating and stimulated photon in phase with the same polarization. Hence, this is coherent radiation. So in coherent radiation, it adds the incident wave and liberated wave constructively, a constructive manner, and provides the amplification. So it gives the amplification, so it is called laser. Light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. So same is shown here, the PN junction impurities and charge carriers. This is holes, sorry, this is electrons, field circles, empty circles are hole. These are the acceptors, negative and positive are the donors. So in P-type, acceptors and holes are in majority number, in N-type, donors and electrons are in majority number, but in N, holes are also there in the minority case number, and in P-type, electrons are also there in minority. And this is the energy band diagram. So there are differences in the conduction band energy P in P type as well as N type. This difference in potential barrier, due to that the charged particles cannot cross the depletion layer. If the PN junction is biased in forward, we can bias forward as well as reverse bias. But if it is biased in forward direction, potential barrier reduces, or if potential barrier may vanish, and this external energy source bias voltage provides the energy to the charged particles to cross the depletion layer and go to another uh, region. From electron from N to P region can transit, and a holes from P to N can transit. And the electron and in minority state in P and holes in minority state in N can recombine with the other type of the charged particles. So electron can recombine with the hole, or hole can recombine with the electron by emitting the photons. So these photons are having the energy equal to band gap energy, equal to Eg. So all the photons are having same energy, so it is monochromatic. But this process is random and in direction, space, and time. That's why it is not having any direction. It is not in phase, so it is incoherent. So spontaneous emission is due to the electron hole recombination and is equal to band energy emitted equal to band gap energy. Easy. There are two types of the recombinations: radiative recombination, non-radiative recombination. In non-radiative recombination, energy released is dissipated in the form of lattice vibration and get converted into heat. In radiative recombination, energy is released in light photon and equal to band gap energy, and it is given as Eg equal to Hf equal to Hc upon lambda. So this we have seen many times. We have used this equation also for solving the problem. We solve the problem where c is velocity of light in vacuum, lambda is the optical wavelength, h is the Planck's constant. If substituted all this, h is equal to 6.626 10 raised to minus 34 joule second, c is 2.998 10 raised to 8 meters per second. Then we get this formula, and this formula is lambda is equal to 1.24 Eg, or Eg is equal to 1.24 divided by lambda. Here, lambda is in the micrometer and Eg is in the electron volt. We have to substitute lambda in micrometer, and we have to substitute Eg in electron volt. And after substituting Eg, we get lambda in micrometer, or if you substitute lambda in micrometer, we will get Eg in electron volt. So this is about the spontaneous emission PN junction, and the junction is biased with positive and negative supply on P side and side is forward bias, so this is PN junction, and charged particles from both the sides crosses the depletion layer and electron hole recombination takes place, and this electron hole recombination is uh, completely random in space, time and direction. That's why it is incoherent. Photons are all incoherent, but all are monochromatic. So for laser action, all these till now is spontaneous emission. For stimulated emission, there must be laser action. There must be population inversion. What is population inversion? The population of the energy, population of the density of the atoms, or the population of the atoms are organized by a Boltzmann distribution at the thermal equilibrium, and this curve is Boltzmann curve, exponential of minus e by pt. So this curve decides how many uh, charged particles or the atoms are in higher as well as lower energy state. This is fixed in the thermal equilibrium. In this case, the higher energy state charged particles or higher energy state density of the atom is very less than lower energy density of state. And this is not favorable condition for amplification, because for amplification or emission of the photon, higher energy state charged particles must be larger, and this is achieved by population inversion. Population inversion makes this inequilibrium, non-equilibrium condition by breaking the Boltzmann distribution thermal equilibrium with the help of pumping. Pumping is the supply of energy, maybe from light, maybe from electromagnetic radiation, or maybe from voltage biasing voltage. And the higher energy state density of atoms becomes larger, so E2 becomes larger than E1. So E1 becomes smaller. And this becomes what we call a non-equilibrium condition. Okay, this becomes non-equilibrium condition. And then N2 becomes larger than N1. This is the population inversion. So higher energy state number of atoms or atom density is higher than more than lower energy state atoms or atom density. So population inversion of the atom is are excited into the upper energy level. All the atoms are excited into upper energy level, and it is non-equilibrium distribution. The population inversion is done using the external energy source. This process of population inversion is called pumping, and pumping is done with the help of intense radiation like the optical flash tube or high frequency variable field also. But in semiconductor, population inversion is using the applied bias. So this is the figure where the lower energy state atom density is less than higher energy atom state. This is the population inversion. So optical feedback laser structure is shown. This is the semiconductor structure, which is amplifying medium, and this medium is having two mirrors. One is completely reflecting, other mirror is partially reflecting, partially transmitting. The partially transmitting mirror gives out the optical output, and this amplifying media reflects the photons from the mirrors. This side photons transmission is not possible because of the roughened surfaces, and only the direction of oscillation of photon maintained in this lengthwise, where length is L. So light amplification of the laser occurs when the photon collides with the atom in the excited state, and it causes the stimulated emission. And both these photons are releases further photons, and this gives the avalanche multiplication. So electromagnetic wave of photon are in phase and will create the amplified coherent emission. So laser action of the photon must be within laser medium, and photon must maintain the condition of coherence to curve laser action. For this, the plane or curved mirrors are connected or placed or they are formed by polishing the crystal, semiconductor crystal. So mirrors are at either end of the amplifying medium. So this is structure of the laser, and this structure is optical feedback, and this gives the laser oscillation of the photons. So laser, it makes the optical cavity. So optical cavity is formed is more analogous to oscillator than the amplifier, and it provides a positive feedback of the photons by reflecting mirrors either end of the cavity. Optical signal is fed back many times while receiving the amplification. To get more amplification continuously, many times the optical feedback is rotated, oscillated in the medium. So it passes through the medium many times. So this structure is fabricated resonator. So amplification of the signal is small with the single pass through the medium, but if multiple passes of the photon is there, it offers a net gain, large net gain. One mirror is partially transmitting, other mirror is fully reflecting. Partially transmitting mirror light radiation can escape from that and cavity from that cavity or mirror, and this is the transmitting mirror, partially transmitting mirror. So stable output can be obtained in this structure at a saturation, and when the optical gain is exactly matched by the losses, then it is becomes stable oscillation. Whatever the gain is there that matches with the losses in the amplifying medium, then stable output is obtained, or it is called saturation condition. So major losses are the absorption and scattering in the amplifying medium, and the other losses are the absorption, scattering, and diffraction at the mirrors and the non-equal transmission through the mirrors. So this is about the laser feedback and optical feedback and laser action. So this laser medium is having capability to produce a very large number of discrete frequencies due to the standing wave, but all the frequencies are not emitted from that because there is a gain curve. This is the property of that structure, crystal structure, that is a gain curve which supports only few number of frequencies under this gain curve. It supports the gain for this frequency of this amplitude, for this frequency, this amplitude, for this frequency it supports only this amplitude gain, and for this frequency it supports this amplitude, this frequency supports this amplitude, and this frequency it supports very small. So this gain curve is also having very small, very narrow line width. That means the source is having very small line width. These many frequencies generated. So as this source generates these many frequency, it is not device is not monochromatic source in the true sense, but it emits the narrow spectral band. It limits the narrow spectral band. So central frequency of spectral band is mean energy level difference in the stimulated emission transition. Another frequency in the spectral band is by frequency variations due to thermal motion. This medium allows the amplification under the gain curve only with a finite spectral width. So this sufficient population inversion in amplifying medium radiation builds up and establishes a standing wave between the mirrors. So these are the result of standing wave. So discrete frequency are result of standing wave. So if sufficient population inversion in amplifying medium is there, that the radiation is built up uh, from the device, and it is established as standing waves between the mirrors. So how standing waves are established, that is seen in this figure. So optical feedback and laser oscillation, if we consider, the standing waves exist only at frequencies for which the discrete uh, distance between the mirrors is integral number of half wavelengths. Standing wave exists only for the frequencies for which the distance between the mirrors is integral number of half wavelengths. So discrete frequencies are supported, which are having the half waves integral multiple of distance L between the mirrors. So in optical spacing between the mirrors L resonance condition, then L is given as L equal to lambda. But when this figure, equations we have discussed, and the other equations we have derived from it. So when lambda is this time we are only revising very quickly. where lambda is emission wavelength and n is the refractive index and amplifying medium, q is the integer, any integer 1, 2, 3, 4. So f is qc upon 2nl. This formula we have derived already. C is the velocity of light, and different frequency of oscillation in laser cavity determine various integer values of q, and each constitute the resonance mode. So these frequencies are random discrete frequencies, and the difference between frequency delta f is c upon 2n. So this is the difference c upon 2nl, and this is the gain curve which supports only these frequencies with very narrow line width. So this line width difference in the frequencies also can be found by mode of separation in terms of free space wavelength, as a delta lambda equal to lambda square upon 2n. So large number of modes generated within the laser cavity, spectral output from device is defined the gain curve by the gain curve, and laser emission only includes the longitudinal modes which are within the spectral width of the gain curve. So heterojunctions are there. The double heterojunction means the junction is made of different band gap energies. Each region will have different band gap energies, and band gap energy of the side layers are made higher, and sandwiched layer is made lower, so that the charged particles can only accumulate within the sandwiched layer. So this recombination of electron hole takes place only in the sandwich layer. So this layer, which is having the lesser band gap energy, is called active region. So this is called active region, and this active region is made very thin so as to have directive beam emission, and so as to have very high gain also. So if the active region is made thin, then electrical intensity becomes very high, then photon concentration becomes very high, then due to pumping, the concentration of the atom at the higher state becomes very high, and due to all that, the radiance becomes very high. Okay. So whatever the photons generated, they are made to remain in same region by making the optical fiber structure. The refractive index of the side layers are lesser than the active layer, so this becomes the refractive index structure. At the same time, the electrical field intensity is very high in the active region than the other regions. So that makes the recombination also, pumping also very high in the active region. So this is the heterojunction. It is the interface between two adjoining single crystal semiconductor with the different band gap energies. Heterojunctions are classified as isotope, anisotope. If same material is isotope, if different material is anisotope. To provide the potential barrier between useful for confinement of majority carriers to small active region, that is the current carrier confinement, effectively reduces the carrier diffusion length and volume with the radiation with the relative radiative recombination. So it reduces the carrier diffusion uh, due to the confinement, and it reduces the diffusion length and diffusion volume with radiative recombination. It used in LED also to provide the transparent layer close to the active region, which is substantially reduces the absorption of the light emitted. So high radiance LED also uses the heterojunction, but lasers are compulsorily used heterojunctions. It provides the radiation confinement to the active region, that is the wall of the optical waveguide. So resulting carrier and optical confinement, carrier as well as optical confinement reduce the threshold current necessary for laser action, that is lasing, by a factor of 100. So it requires the threshold current in order of 50 to 200 milliampere. This technique is widely also used for high radius LEDs. So semiconductor injection laser, or it is called injection laser, ILD, laser diode, or injection laser only. So it is having the major advantage. It is a high radiance in the amplifying medium of the simulated emission. Injection laser generally supply milliwatts of the optical power. Narrow line width is there, 1 nanometer or 10 angstrom, and it is less in minimizing the material dispersion. Modulation capability extends up to gigahertz into gigahertz, which also can be further improved. Relative temporal coherence is the essential to allow the coherent detection of high capacity systems are helpful. So presently it is in the single mode systems only used in. So it is relative temporal coherence, which is useful in the coherent detection. So good spatial coherence is there, which allows the output is focused in the lens, which has greater intensity than disperse the unfocused emission. So spatial coherence permits the efficient coupling of the optical output power into fiber even with low numerical aperture. Less NA also efficient coupling is possible. So these are the advantages, and this is a structure which shows the five different layers. One is active layer. This is active layer. PGAS is active layer, and the immediate side layers are confinement layer. These are the optical confinement, electrical confinement layers, and after that the layers are used, layers are needed for electrical conductivity. So these are the N plus P plus layer. And P and N layer having the optical fiber structure, optical confinement, and electrical confinement, and making the supporting the active region for pumping high density of the atoms in the higher energy state, that is population inversion, and having the high number of photons appear in the active region, and um, producing the high intensity directional beam. So here the beam produced is throughout the width, and that increases the threshold current as well as decreases the directivity. Pencil beam is not produced. So active region is having height wise very thin layer, but width wise it is very wide. So width wise it is very wide. Okay. So this width wise active region is also made very short. Okay. So this is made short by the strip geometry, strip contact. Okay. So there is a contact metallization. So metallization is on both the sides, and this after this metallization, one silicon dioxide insulating layer is placed, and that layer is not allowing the current to pass through all the uh, area, and only small strip is allowing the current. This strip is of the order of 2 to 65 micrometer in most of the lasers, and in some lasers it is 5 micrometer, in some lasers 10 micro, in some lasers it is 20 micrometer. Special lasers are there, but generally it is 2 to 65 micrometer. Okay. So this active region is made very short in the width wise also, and already it is height wise it is very thin. That makes the emission divergence angles in horizontal as well as vertical as very less, 9 degree and 45 degree. So this is making the emission region width wise and height wise very small, and that makes the pencil like beam. So this is the strip geometry where the strips varies from 2 to 65 micrometer generally, and this is achieved with various techniques like game guided and uh, technique, in which the two types are there. One is high resistivity proton implantation, and another is diffuse the p-type region. So protons are implanted, which makes the resistive region for conduction, and conduction regions remains very small. Okay. Instead of the silicon dioxide layer, the proton implantation also is there. And reverse bias the region N and P are made such layers that it becomes reverse bias. N is near the positive connected battery. So in which very small region is generated with the diffuse P type. So only P type region conduction, other region do not conduct. So This also is one more strategy in gain guided lasers. In index guided laser, the ridge waveguide injection laser is there, in which again the same strategy is made by making the index guiding and sandwiching the p-type region in very small area. Okay, and they are insulated by the silicon dioxide in other area. And one more is there, that is buried heterostructure, in which large area n is made very small sandwich area, and that there the active region is buried, and above active region one more region is there, and that is p-type ALGAS, where other regions are all n-type GAS, n-type ALGAS, and active region is maybe of NGAS, and one more about layer is p-type GAS. And again the silicon dioxide is there for insulating, and very small current conducting channel is here. So this is also one more alternative of index guided laser. Then we have seen the advantage of light emitting diode. Simple fabrication, no mirrors are required, maybe no string geometry are required, or maybe used in the some high radiance LED. Due to that, reduce the cost is there due to simple construction. It is having better reliability because it is operating at low power. And that's why catastrophic degradation as well as gradual degradation are very very less as compared to laser. And it is immune to cell pulsation and modal noise. In quiz, these questions are asked, so we should know all these advantages. So we are going through it very quickly because we are revising it. Less temporal dependence is there in the light output, and current characteristic is less affected by the temperature than laser. So this is LED is not having any threshold requirement. So raising temperature do not affect any threshold, etc. So it is more stable than laser in point of view of temperature. So it is requiring simple drive circuitry also, because it is thermally stable operating, and it is requiring very less current also. So drive circuitry is not required to maintain high threshold, to maintain the high uh, temperature, stabilize the circuit. So drive circuit is simple, just biasing and one resistor due to the lower drive currents and less temperature dependence. So linear light output against the current characteristic is useful for analog modulation. So it is useful for analog modulation. So light output is linear. So development of high radiance is relatively high bandwidth is possible. So these are the advantages. But disadvantages are, this is providing generally lower output in the order of microwatts, and it is LED is having lower modulation bandwidth, and LED is having the harmonic distortion. So we know the LED power efficiency. LED's internal quantum efficiency is given as eta internal if there is a crystal structure, and if the charge particles are n number of charge particles are there, suppose, and out of that, suppose n we are using for refractive index. So rate of charge particles, total rate of charge particles are RT, and out of that R are radiative. Then radiative upon total is the quantum efficiency. Radiative rate upon total recombination rate is quantum efficiency. The internal optical power generated within this crystal internally generates the optical power. So this optical photons internally generated P internal. It is given as eta internal IHF upon E, or it is given as eta internal HCI upon E lambda. So this is the formula which can be derived. We are taking directly. Here eta internal is internal quantum efficiency. I is the current, H is the Planck's constant, F is the frequency, E is the charge on electrons, C is the velocity of light, and lambda is wavelength. Based on this, tomorrow or day after tomorrow, we will be solving the numericals also. Then we'll understand the formula uh, further. So internally generated power to within the structure crystal, internally generated power is optical power is eta internal H I into F divided by E. I is the current, bias current. E is Planck's constant. This is the frequency of this photon, and E is the electronic charge. On eta internal H C I, H is the Planck's constant, C is the velocity of light, I is the current, E is the electronic charge, lambda is the wavelength of the photon. So this is the LED power which is internally generated within the crystal. After generating the power is within the crystal, the power has to come out the crystal as a radiation. So how much the, so suppose this is the crystal and that internally generates power P internal, and then this has to come out as a radiation. So this radiated power is PE, emitted power. Suppose emitted power is P. So internally rate of charge recombination is there and radiation is there. That ratio is internal quantum efficiency. But internally generated power is coming out as the emitted power, and internally generated power is due to the power supply we are providing V and I. So this V into I is electrical power P. Okay, voltage into current is electrical power supply. So the power efficiency, external power efficiency, that is PEP, is defined as ratio of optical power emitted externally PE to the electric power provided to the device P. So this is given as eta EP is equal to P upon P into 100. So external power efficiency is the ratio of emitted photo power divided by electrical power. So optical power emitted is Pe into the medium of low refractive index N from the face of planar LED is given as. So if this is the planar LED, this is the planar LED. So if this is the planar LED and this planar LED is internally generating the power P internal and it is emitting the power as PE, P emitted into the medium. So this is medium, suppose air or glass. So this is the crystal is semiconductor material. So its refractive index is Nx and the external material refractive index is N. Suppose. Then this PO, sorry PE, the PE power emitted can be given as the optical power emitted PE into the medium of low refractive index N. So this is the N from the face of the planar LED fabricated from material refractive index Nx is given as P equal to P internal into F into N square divided by 4 Nx square, where P internal is the internal generated power of the LED. F is transmission factor of semiconductor and external interface. So this is semiconductor, this is external air. So this interface has some transmission factor, semiconductor external interface. So for semiconductor air it is different, for semiconductor water it is different, for semiconductor glass it is different. So this is the F, which is transmission factor of semiconductor external interface. Then LED coupling efficiency also can be given. So N is the refractive index of the medium in which the emission is taken place, and Nx is the refractive index of the semiconductor material. Okay. Then one more is there, LED coupling efficiency. LED coupling efficiency eta C is given as Nc equal to, sorry, LED coupling efficiency eta C is given as eta C equal to sin square theta A or Na square, because Na is nothing but sin theta A, isn't it? Na is sin theta A. So either you can give Nc as Na square or you can write Nc sin square theta A. Here theta is the acceptance angle, Na is the numerical aperture. So this is also one more formula, coupling efficiency. So internal quantum efficiency is Ra upon Rt, okay, which is also given as eta internal as tau t upon tau r. Okay, tau r, tau upon tau r. Tau r and tau r nr are recombination times, radiative recombination time and non-radiative recombination time, and tau t is the total recombination time. Okay, recombination time and recombination rates are inversely proportional. So that's why uh, tau p or total tau is 1 upon tau equal to 1 upon tau r plus 1 upon tau nr. Okay, this formula also we can use in the problem solving. Okay, so either we can go for eta internal equal to tau r upon tau t, or we can go for eta internal equal to tau upon tau r, and p internal is eta internal ihf upon e, or p internal is equal to eta internal hc upon p lambda, where the h is Planck's quantity, is the charge of electrons, c is the velocity of light, lambda is the wavelength, and f is the frequency. Eta internal is internal quantum efficiency. And external power efficiency is PE upon P, where P is the emitted optical power and P is the electrical power supply. And also the emitted optical power can be given as P internal F n square upon 4 nx square, where the P internally is the power generated internally, internal to the structure, the crystal structure. F is the transmission factor of semiconductor external interface. LED couples the with the efficiency eta C is equal to into the fiber. LED is coupling the optical energy into the fiber with eta C equal to sin square theta A or Na square. So this is one more formula. Theta is the acceptance angle and Na is the numerical aperture. So these are the formulae which we are using in the numerical solving also in the LED. Okay, chapter of LED. So what are the formulae? Eta internal is RR upon RT. Okay, radiative rate upon rate of recombination. I will rewind here. And eta internal is also given as tau t upon tau r, or tau upon tau r. Tau is the total recombination time, tau r is the radiative recombination time, and tau nr is the non-radiative recombination time. Whereas tau r upon tau nr, tau r is the radiative recombination, tau nr is non-radiative recombination. From that, the total recombination time can be found out as 1 upon tau is equal to 1 upon tau r plus 1 upon tau nr. So this is also one formula. And P internal is equal to eta internal IHF upon E, or eta internal HCI upon lambda E lambda is internal optical power generated within the crystal. And all these H is Planck's velocity, charge, electron, C is the velocity of light, lambda is the wavelength, F is the frequency. These are the terms in that. Similarly, the external efficiency EP is PE divided by P. Power emitted externally divided by electrical power is the external emission efficiency. External power efficiency. Okay, external power efficiency is defined as ratio of optical power emitted externally to the electrical power provided to the device. P upon P into 100 is eta E. Similarly, externally emitted optical power is given as PO is equal to P internal F n square upon 4 nx square, where P internal is the internal generated power, F is the transmission factor of semiconductor external interface, N is the external medium refractive index, and Nx is the semiconductor refractive index. Okay. One more formula is there, coupling efficiency eta C is given as sin square theta A or Na square. So theta is the acceptance angle and Na is the numerical aperture. So these are the formulae we require for numerical solving. So double heterojunction, in which we are having the same structure that of the LED in laser also. In high radiance, in LED like laser. Okay. So this we are discussed in laser. In high radiance LED, double heterojunction is used, and it shows the layer structure with applied bias and corresponding energy band diagram also here. So here we can observe on one P very large band gap energy is there. On the N side also large band gap, different amount of band gap energy is there. But for active region, this band gap energy is lesser than these two. That makes the active region accumulate all the charge carriers in that. And this active region then recombines to emit the photons. Charge carrier recombines to emit the photon. Which is same is shown in the confinement layers and active layers in the figure. So here the positive is connected to P type, the negative is connected to N side, and active region here is also in P. Active region may be P or N. So there are two junctions and both are heterojunctions. Both are having their respective band gap energies in each layer are different in making the junction. So holes from P side crosses to junction and goes into active layer. Electrons from N layer crosses the heterojunction, goes into active region, and recombination is taken place in the active region. Okay, and this gives the optical output from the one side. If both side active optical output is taken, that will get divided into two. So that's why single side active. So high radiance LED also provided the double heterojunction and mirror section. So only holes and electrons are have recombination possible in active region. That is shown in this figure, which is double heterojunction LED structure, which is similar to the laser double heterojunction structure. So this refractive index variation is done with the material constituent which is used, GAS or ALGAS, and again for ALX GA1 minus X, ALY is GA1 minus Y. That's proportion is changed to change the refractive index, to change the band gap energies, okay, of the alloys. So same thing we have discussed in laser also, and which is applicable here in the LED also. Double heterojunction theory. Now different structures are there for the LEDs. Surface emitter LED or SLED is one structure. So this structure of planar LED with emission of the light from all surfaces. So structure of PN junction is there. From this PN junction, whatever the emitted photons are there, they are emitted, come out from the surface. They are called surface emitting LEDs. And if they come out along the junction through the edge, then these devices are called edge emitting. So there are two types of the devices, surface emitting and edge emitting. Out of that, first we are setting here the structure of planar LED with emission of light from surfaces. So this is the SLED, surface emitting LED. So what is there in that LED? In this LED is the metallization is there as usual. There is a well, there is a circular disc like opening window which is not having metallization because these metals are not allowing to come take out the photons, to radiate the photons in the outside medium. That's why the metals are not sputtered in particular area. That area is normally circular area, and through that area light output can be taken out into the medium. And the lower side metallization is complete metallization, so photons cannot come out from this area. Okay. So these are the ohmic contacts or metal contacts. Okay. So this is the P-type epitaxial, this is the N-type epitaxial substrate, and this is the PN junction. And when it is forward biased, it gives the light output in this direction. So this is the surface emitter LED. Yes, LED. Okay. So surface emitter LED is having structure something like this. So this is the structure of ALGAS double heterojunction surface emitting LED. So this structure is just to understand what is surface emitting LED, but actually the uh, surface emitting LED is having the double heterojunction surface emitting structure. If you carefully observe here, five layers are there to make the double heterojunction layers. Then there is a optical fiber cable is also there to take out the optical photons from the active region to the medium. And the concealing, that is the fixing, is there by resonance, epoxy resin. Then there is a metallization is there, and on the both the sides, and to take the photons and connect the this fiber, there is each the way is there, and these are dimensions and material shown. As we see from this structure, there are five layers. So N layer ALJS, then P layer GAS, then P layer ALGS. So this is the probably this is the PGAL GAS is the active layer. So this is the central one, and PALGS and NALGS are the confinement regions, and P plus GAS and this NGAS, these are the conductive layers. So these five layers are there. So active layer PGAS is very thin, and out of this thin area, the contact diameter is only 50 micrometer disc. Okay, so this is shown here, the contact area. Okay, so this much is the contact area. Remaining is the metallization, but there is a insulation layer, isn't it? Oxide layer. So here oxide is not written. Oxide layer is there. Okay, this dotted one. And this oxide layer avoids the conduction in this area, and it allows only through this contact 50 micrometer diameter contact area. So that makes very thin this active region uh, to have the recombination and electrical connectivity to very small width wise also. Thin height wise thin active layer is provided current width wise to very small area. So total volume of the active region for pumping, for this population inversion, for high density, high level atoms, and for high number of large number of photons inside, that volume becomes very small. That increases the concentration of photon and concentration of charge carriers also in that area. And that area only is allowed for electron hole recombination. This theory we have many times discussed. We have discussed this in lasers also, the structures of lasers, and we are discussing now in the LEDs. So whatever photons are generated, they do not cannot go in this side because it is a contact disk, metal disk. So photon can get emitted in this direction. So this confinement layers provides the photons not to go into other side, but they are transparent, and they can pass this photons generated in the active layer. In this case, surface emitter case. In edge emitter case, they are optically confined. Here, they are upper layer is not optically confined. They allow to pass the photons through surface. Okay, and immediately to the surface, the optical fiber is like structure is created, which directs this light output in one direction. guides the light outflow in one direction. And for that, the each the well is there up to the semiconductor material in N type GAS, and very thin N GAS is placed allowed here. So this each the well is, or N type GAS is having approximately 50 micrometer height. Okay. So total structure, all five layers and up to the N type GAS, uh, height of 50 micrometer is there. And all this structure, metal tab, gold stud, and all the five layers is the well, and the optical fiber structure connected to this. All this is very well fixed in epoxy resin that fixes the total structure uh, to give the mechanical stability. Okay, so this is about the structure of ALGAS double electrode surface emitting LED. So a surface emitting LED is there, and there is a edge emitting LED. So in case of surface emitting LED, SLED, the it is obtained high radiance by restricting the emission to a small active region within the device. With the homostructure devices, each the well, same material devices, homostructure, heterostructure, different bandgap energy materials. In substrate is used in order to prevent heavy absorption of emitted radiation. Homostructure is there in well to allow the photons to pass through. That means there is no optical confinement. Same material is used. So with the homostructure devices each the well, the substrate is used in order to prevent heavy absorption. Transparent material is provided for the optical photons and the emitted radiation, and physically to accommodate the fiber. So fiber is also accommodated there in the each way. The structure have low thermal impedance in active region, allowing high current densities and giving high radiance emission into optical fiber. So the structure is made with less temperature impedance. So thermal conductivity is provided, cooling is provided. Double electrode structures give increased efficiency from electrical and optical confinement, as well as less absorption of the emitted radiation. Active region is made very thin, and that's why it provides the confinement, and that's why it increases the efficiency. External emission distribution is Lambertian. So whatever the emission is there, due to it is surface emission, of course the emission will be Lambertian. Lambertian means a beam width of 120 degree. So if this is the surface, it emits the photon in about 120 degree diversion. Okay, beam may be in totally 120-degree divergence. Okay, so this is called Lambertian distribution of the optical photon. It is not pencil-like beam. Surface emitting LEDs are not giving pencil-like beam. They are giving Lambertian distribution of order of 120-degree divergence. Due to refraction from the high to low refractive index GAS fiber, it is on giving this width of the beam. The power coupled PC, coupled power into the multimode step index fiber. Suppose this is the surface of the SLED and there is optical fiber. So this power coupled into the optical fiber is given as PC equal to pi into 1 minus R into A into RD into NA square. This is the formula of coupled power. What is this formula of coupled power is? Pi is, we are knowing, constant 3.14. R, small r is Fresnel reflection coefficient. Fresnel reflection coefficient. I will tell you this in the fiber interface. A is the smaller of the fiber core or cross section of the device. A is the area. A is the area which is taken whichever is a smaller fiber core or device or emission area of source. RD is the radiance of the source. Radiance of the source. So now suppose there is a source. This is the crystal. Okay. This emits the photons, and suppose this is the optical fiber core, and this is the cladding. Suppose this is the core area and this is the device area. A1, A2 we can say. So suppose A1 is more than A2, so lesser area is taken A2. If A1 is lesser than A2, then lesser area taken as A1. Why lesser area? Because suppose the LED area is A1 and it is radiating the optical energy, and the A2 area of the fiber is higher, then it can cover all the area. It can cover all the area. So how much is area of radiance is A1. Okay. Now suppose the device area is higher. I will draw here on lower side. Device area is more, but optical fiber area is less. Okay. So this is the cladding and this is the core. Device radiates in this much area, but light is coupled only in very small area. A2 is very small and A1 is large. So in that case, what is the effective area of coupling? A2. So whichever is the smaller, that is considered. If the LED is having smaller radiation area, emission area, that area is taken as A. If the fiber is having smaller area, then fiber core area is taken as the A. So A is the area, whichever is smaller from cross section of the fiber core or cross emission area of the source. Okay. RD is the radiance of the source. Radiance means the amount of the radiation. Okay. Na is the numerical aperture of the fiber. Pi we know. Now this R, 1 minus R. R is the Fresnel reflection coefficient. What is Fresnel reflection coefficient? That we'll see in the junctions, these joints also. Whenever there is one medium, suppose the uh, source, and immediately another medium, that is fiber, glass. So from semiconductor to glass, there is a change in the medium, or you can say there is a glass in which the light is traveling and there is air. So there is a change in the medium. Whenever there is a change in the medium, small amount of light reflects back and rest of the light goes into other medium by refraction. This small amount of light reflection is found by Fresnel reflection. It is called Fresnel reflection. So this is 1 minus R. R is the Fresnel reflection coefficient. How much reflection is returned back and how much it goes out of 1, small r will be returned back. So how much it goes into next medium is 1 minus r. That's why 1 minus r is taken. So Pc is equal to pi into 1 minus r into A into Rd into Na square. Pi we know 1 minus r is Fresnel reflection coefficient. R is one Fresnel reflection coefficient. So 1 minus r is the amount of the light goes into other medium. A is the area which is whichever is smaller, that is taken. If the source radiance area is smaller, that is taken into calculation. If the optical fiber core area is smaller, then core area is taken into calculation. Rd is the radiance of the source. Na is the numerical aperture of the fiber. So this is called coupling, power coupled into the fiber. Pc is the coupled power into the fiber of surface emitting LED. Yes, LED. Then there is a edge emitting LED. So I think 4 or 5 slides are there. LED characteristics. Should we stop here or shall I continue these 4 or 5 slides so that we can tomorrow we can have the numerical solvings. Should I continue or tomorrow we'll have this discussion of age emitting LED and problem solving? Yes, am I audible? Disconnect झालं का? Am I audible? Yes. Anybody? अरे बाप रे, disconnect झालं का? Hello. Yes, Siddesh. I am audible, Chinmay. Okay, Chinmay, we will continue tomorrow. So only 3-4 slides are remaining from the LED, and then we will solve the problem. Tomorrow, be attentive, all of you, because we are discussing the problem solving. I am stopping the